الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره نعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها فإن كل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار وإنما توعدون لآت وما أنتم بمعجزين. Praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He's the only one worthy of praise. I seek His help, His guidance and His forgiveness. I believe in Him and I trust Him. I seek refuge in Almighty Allah from the evil of our passions. Indeed, whomsoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides him to al-Islam, no one can mislead him after Allah. And whomsoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put him astray, no one can guide him after Allah. I testify openly that there is no deity worthy of worship except Allah Rabbil Alameen. And I testify that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is his messenger and the seal of all the prophets. O Muslims, you must know that the best speech is the speech of Almighty Allah, which is the Quran. The best guidance is the course of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is his sunnah. The worst of all affairs is innovation and addition to the religion of Islam. Indeed, every addition to the religion of Islam will lead to hellfire. I adjure you as well as myself to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the best of your ability. That means have the taqwa of Allah, God conscious, and don't die unless you are in a state of Islam. My khutbah today is concerning a verse from Surah At-Tawbah, Repentance, verse number 71. Allah the Almighty is saying, وَالْمُؤْمِنُونَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتِ بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْضٍ يَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَيَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ وَيُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ وَيُؤْتُونَ الزَّكَاةَ وَيُطِيعُونَ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ أُولَئِكَ سَيَرْحَمُهُمُ اللَّهُ إِنَّ اللَّهَ عَزِيزٌ حَكِيمٌ. Which is the meaning is, the believers, men and women, are the awliya of one another. They enjoy the good and they forbid the evil. They perform salah, they give the zakah, they obey Allah and His Messenger. Allah will have mercy on them. Surely Allah is Almighty, all-wise. Al-Mu'minun is a plural of a mu'min, which is the opposite of any Muslim, a kafir. Al-Mu'minun wal-Mu'minat. There is certain obligations in Islam for men only, and there is certain obligation for female only or women only, and there is something for everyone. And in this verse, Allah is telling us that the believers, al-mu'minun, and also al-mu'minat. So there is no exception in the Muslim ummah for this issue. بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْضٍ. They are the friends of one another. They are the supporter of one another. They care for one another. وَالْمُؤْمِنُونَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتِ بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْضٍ. Helpers of one another, supporter of one another, friends of one another, protector of one another. So this is the first thing that we need to establish in our personality as Muslims, as believers, that the Muslim Ummah build on love before financial support. It build in moral system before any economic and any dollars or any fulus. That al-mu'minuna wal-mu'minat, their iman make them to be brothers, to be helpers to one another, to be supporter for one another. Not everybody have money, but everybody can have a moral system, can have love, can have advice, can have something to contribute to each other. Because the Prophet ﷺ telling us that وَالْكَلِمَةُ الطَّيِّبَةُ صَدَقَةٌ. Even a good word, advice, it is a sadaqah. You can extend it for your Muslim brother or your Muslim sister. So when Islam talks about being awliya of one another before the dollar, because not everybody have dollar, there is something everybody have it. Assalamu alaikum can be a charity for you. Even a smile on your brother, for your brother in your face when you meet him with a charitable faith. So we have to understand that when you see each other, you see a member of your family. When you see your Muslim brother, you see your sisters, your Muslim sister, this is a family. Now, if this family, some of the members are black, some of them white, some of them American, some of them Arab, but all of them is one family. One thing common between all of them, and this is something called Iman. And the Iman will bring about this love, bring about this support, making you a protector for one another, helper of one another, concerned and caring for one another. In addition to this, يأمرون بالمعروف وينهون عن المنكر. They have also a duty for the general Muslim community and the public in general. يأمرون بالمعروف وينهون عن المنكر. They enjoy the good and they forbid the bad, because they have to keep a good environment. In the airport, they have designated a special area for smokers. In restaurants, in aeroplane, everywhere, now they care for one another. But there is something more caring, that in our hand as a Muslims, for the society, our caring is not a temporary caring. It's not only for this air that you breathe. We concern about something very major, which is the future. The future of every human being, not only the Muslims. We are people who care. We are the people who care. And we care because we love. And then we mean it, and we have to mean it. And this is not called democracy. Because democracy, it depends who try to impose it and what reasons they want to impose it in others. So we are not imposing our religion on others, but we care it for others. And we understand that when is Islam there is peace. There is tranquility. There is a social fair system, that everybody is equal. There is no need for having cameras and people spying on our phone line. Why? Because we are mu'minun. We believe in that Allah hears us and sees us. So we don't need a secret police. We don't need a FBI. We don't need any agent, because our fear is from Allah before anybody else. As a result of this, we try to have a good environment, not only for the Muslims, but for every human being. And when there is Islam, not democracy, we're going to start to care about the dog and the cats. Not only the American people. Why? Because cats has place in Islam. Dog has a place in Islam. But today, under democracy, there is many human beings, they have no rights. And this is reality. We could not be deceived by words. And terrorism comes by even sometimes people who are calling for democracy. Because democracy, it can be a word that those people who try to impose it, they can give the explanation for it. And sometimes we may defend a country or support a country, while other countries under a ruler that been giving them death every day. And so-called democracy and those who fight for democracy are aware about it. And maybe they themselves supporting this. This is reality. But Islam comes about the society and say we need to have a clean environment from the haram, from illegal sex, from immorality, from all kind of un-Islamic act or un-Islamic belief. يأمرون بالمعروف. And the ma'ruf is what Allah recognizes and His Prophet. Not the majority. The majority will tell you, yes, we agree. 16 years old is okay. Now he can buy cigarettes. 18 years old, now he can smoke reefer or marijuana wherever in other states. Now majority say gay marriage is okay. But Islam has its own system. And we are not imposing the belief on anybody. But we have to make the clean environment for everybody. Doesn't matter he is smoker or not smoker. And this is something very unique. And this is not any place in Islam. We are not carrying guns here to go to impose it on anybody. But it is a freedom of speech that you talk about your belief and let the people know the beauty of Islam. And Islam will tell you دخلت امرأة النار في هرة. A woman entered hellfire because a cat. She locked up the cat. She did not feed the cat, neither she let the cat free to go and look for its provision. This is Islam. This is the Islam. Talks about dog and cats. Nowadays, we don't exist by a super country or even minor country. Not by China, not by America, not by Russia. So there is no solution for anyone except through Islam. And when Islam enter a country or take over a country, it doesn't impose the belief system for the people. فَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيُؤْمِنْ وَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيَكْفُرْ. It's up to you. You want to be a Muslim or Kafir. But they run the country. This is the difference. They run the country by the law of Allah. But we did not make the people to be Muslims. Because imposing Islam is not going to be accepted from the people. So we have a duty towards our fellow Muslims, which is called wilayah. And we have the duty towards the society in general, regardless of Muslims or non-Muslims, and this to enjoy the good and forbid the bad. And from the bad, and the worst bad, the worst of all bads is the shirk billah, associating partner beside Allah, claiming that Allah has a son or has an equal. This is the worst kind of evil. يأمرون بالمعروف وينهون عن المنكر ويقيمون الصلاة. It is our duty as Muslims in general that we establish prayer. And our duty also to care for the people with our financial assistance. ويؤتون الزكاة. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us about the result of this. وَيُطِيعُونَ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ, and they obey Allah. Total obedience is for Allah, the messenger of Allah, and the obedience of the president or the king or the prince stem out of the obedience of Allah. The job of a ruler in Islam not to make a law or constitution. The job of a ruler in Islam is to make sure that the Sharia of Allah, the laws of Allah, the Islam is carried out. We did not submit a man to a man. You could not worship a man, obey a man like you. Doesn't matter if it's male or female or whatever they are. Because he did not create life. So you could not try to rule and make rules for life. But the one who creates is the one who has the right to legislate and tell you how to conduct the business. So it doesn't matter you call him a king, you call him a president, you told him that he came by majority vote or by few votes, still his job is nothing except to carry out and to make sure and to become a guardian to the Sharia of Allah. وَيُطِيعُونَ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ. They obey Allah and His Messenger. What is the result? أُولَٰئِكَ سَيَرْحَمْهُمُ اللَّهُ. Those people who Allah will send mercy on them. Why 3 and 4 million American, as example, at least. I'm not that good. I don't read too much newspaper or even read paper to tell you, but why it have to be a 3 or 4 million American, at least, homeless? Do you know what's homeless? These people who go and take away or steal, whatever you want to call it, a food line shopping bag. And they have all their life in it. This is called homeless. At night, they don't know where to go. And if they sleep in certain places, in the public places, they're going to be put in jail. This is what we call them homeless. Why have to be American people, white or black or Spanish, have no home. They have no home. What did the democracy make or give those people? Tell me. But when you read in Islam and you find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talking about أَرَأَيْتَ الَّذِي يُكَذِّبُ بِالدِّينِ فَذَلِكَ الَّذِي يَدُعُّ الْيَتِيمَ وَلَا يَحُضُّ عَلَى طَعَامِ الْمِسْكِينِ فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ صَلَاتِهِمْ سَاهُونَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ يُرَاءُونَ وَيَمْنَعُونَ الْمَعُونَ. They say Islam doesn't need a gun or a sword. Islam talks to the heart, to the mind. Make the emotion that you have and the heart to wake up and start to caring and start to love and to try to assist, because you believe in the blessing. You believe in being in the day of judgment. You're going to be questioned. Do you see the one who denies the judgment? Who's that? He didn't say the kafir. He didn't say the one who saying Jesus, Son of God. Say, do you see the one who denies the judgment? فَذَلِكَ الَّذِي يَدُعُّ الْيَتِيمِ. This is the one who opposes or who treats the orphan harsh. This was Islam. Islam talks. And because you believe, you're going to start to do it. It's not because somebody watching you. It's not because somebody spying in you. It's not because somebody searching you. This only in Islam. This only in Islam. You are not going to find it in any other system. وَلَا يَحُضُّ عَلَى طَعَامِ الْمِسْكِينِ. And those who do not urge each other to feed the miskin and the poor. Islam is the absence of Islam. There is no rahmah. There is no mercy. There is only few families eating the oil and eating the money and the income and the resources of any country. This is what it is. Where is no belief, when there is no true Islam, fake Islam or any other Islam, it doesn't work. People will have millions and millions and millions of dollars. For his wife, he can count hundreds necklaces. Greed. And people aware about it. People taking the treasures of the lands and keeping it only for themselves, because they call it al-a'ila al-malika, or he's the president, his family, his son, Amir, whatever. All the resources of the country gone to few people. The rest of the country, people could not even find food to eat. They could not even find crumbs to eat. There is no rahmah. But those people who go by the Quran, by the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, those people who live for wilayah, being supporter for one another, helping for one another, assisting one another, as the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam gives a good example. Allah said, أولئك سيرحمهم الله. The rahmah of Allah will be there. The mercy of Allah will be there. Tranquility will be there. Otherwise, the absence of the rahmah from any society, people will be like wild animals. They will be worse than animals. The Prophet ﷺ talking about مثل المؤمنين في توادهم وتراحمهم وتعاطفهم كمثل الجسد إذا اشتكى منه عضو تداعى له سائر الجسد بالسهر والحمى أو كما قال صلى الله عليه وسلم. The likeness of the believers, the issue of faith, believing in Allah and His Messenger and the day of judgment, is that all the good things stem out of it, not from any other system, not from socialism, capitalism, democracy, nothing. The believers, the way how they care for one another, help one another, assist one another, is like one single body. If one limb suffers, the whole body will suffer. You tell me that you have headache, and your body will go to sleep. You tell me that you have a problem with your foot, and your arm will go to sleep. the whole body awake because one limb. Today you hear about the people in Burma. You hear about Muslims everywhere. They are being killed and slain like animals. Wallahi, even some animals, dogs, are treated better than Muslims nowadays. Some of the dogs, they go in an aeroplane with the president. They have a whole crew to serve a dog. But you find Muslims, they are being slaughtered like sheep. And countries, and super and non-super country aware about it. Nobody's talking about this. Why? Because the wilayah, as Allah said, إِلَّا تَفْعَلُوا تَكُنْ فِتْنَةٌ وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْضٍ. And those who disbelieve, Allah said about the kuffar, those who disbelieve, they are the supporter of one another, the helper of one another. And Allah said, if you did not do it yourself, like what they doing, helping one another, care for one another, supporting one another, إِلَّا تَفْعَلُوا تَكُنْ فِتْنَةٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ وَفَسَادٌ كَبِيرٌ. If you are not going to establish the wilayah among you Muslims, not Arab, you Muslims, doesn't matter if you're black or white, in America, on the moon, under the ground, if you believers. Allah, it doesn't talking about Arab in Quran. إِلَّا تَفْعَلُوا, O Muslims, تَكُنْ فِتْنَةٌ وَفَسَادٌ. This is going to be a fitna which we live it today. We live in a big fitna. And what is more fitna? Look to what's happening in Syria today. But this is nothing new. This is nothing new. Worse than this was happening in Egypt. Not 2 years ago, or 5 years ago, 30 years ago. People lived in fear because they have a book, as example, called Zilal al-Quran, under the shade of the Quran, written by a man, a scholar, a linguist, or whatever you want to call him. And I'm not praising any book or any man here, but I'm giving you example. There is no perfect scholar or a perfect man. Because you find a book written by a man by name Sayyid Qutb, as example. If it's been found in your house, you go to jail. And you're going to be in jail, nobody will know where you are. Not your family, not anybody. That because somebody wrote a book, Tafsir of Quran, under the shade of the Quran, this is a crime. And the people who live in democracy, people who call themselves to be a super country, they knew about these things. They know that there is no freedom of speech, there is no even freedom of thoughts and education. If I have to find this book in my house, I will go to jail. How you helping people with your democracy? Why? Why وَأَتَسْتَبْدِلُونَ الَّذِي هُوَ أَدْنَى بِالَّذِي هُوَ خَيْرٌ? Allah used to give Bani Israel al-man wal-salwa. Allah used to give them a breakfast, lunch, heavily coming every day. Free lunch for the people of Israel every day. They wake up, they carry it. They go to the tree and take. Allah makes them birds and honey. They went to Musa and said, what? Oh Musa, ادع لنا ربك يخرج لنا مما تنبت الأرض من بقلها وقثائها وفومها وعدسها وبصلها قال تستبدلون الذي هو أدنى بالذي هو خير. Allah giving them retoasted chicken, birds, honey, cream, everything. Free. But they came to Musa and said, oh Moses, ask your Lord to give us from what comes from the ground. What they want? Fava beans, onions, some garlic. Subhanallah, I said, what's wrong with you? You exchange the lowest by the highest. There is nothing can be equal to Islam. There is nothing better than Islam. Any man-made system is crippled. You have to know this. So the issue here, my brothers